Welcome to the Lorehounds podcast. We are still waiting on Peds to take Baby Jane Doe.
You got to put some spin on that. You got to put Dana's spin on that. Baby Jane Doe. Jane Doe.
All right. I love Dana. I think she's a great character. I think the actress is doing a great job. But what is the accent? What is that accent? It is all over the place.
Loving it. Love it. Baby Jane Doe.
I'm John. My core temp is doing just fine, thank you.
And I'm David, and I could just use some water if you had some around. I'm thirsty. It's very hot in here. Actually, it's the opposite of hot here right now, but that's beside the point. This is our coverage of episode 7 of season 2 of the Pitt. This is the 1 p.m. hour. And John, we've sort of slowly been getting sucked into the show. I don't know, slow, fast, whatever. And we were kind of starting out, we'll just do a half-hour vibe check on this. And now I've got like a 16-page outline, and I've got
when has that ever worked? Running it. I know, like right? Every time we're just going to dip our toe in. Everyone,
I think we held okay on, what was the Ted Lasso? On Ted Lasso, well, I think we kept it tight.
Yeah, I mean,
Kaleidoscope was tight, but that was, there was other reasons there. Remember Kaleidoscope?
I've actually blocked that out of my memory.
Oh, I'm sorry. I re-traumatized you. I apologize for that.
We're going to be talking about a lot of trauma this episode. Maybe we should quickly say, there is sexual assault subject matter in this episode. And it's a big part of this episode. There's just no way around it.
Yep.
I was originally going to suggest that we sequester it to part of the episode, but because it's so integral to this whole episode of the show, I don't think that there is a way around just giving a trigger warning for this whole podcast.
Sure. Fair enough. And there's actually a couple of other difficult topics embedded in this, just little minor visuals and a phrase, a name of something or something. So yeah, this is part of my hot take, which was on reflection. This episode's a little bit darker, or not darker. That's not the right way. There's a bunch of stuff in here that I was like, there's like a bunch of second and third order stuff in here that wasn't apparent at surface. There is a lot of very sobering stuff in this episode. Yeah.
I will say, if you watched the episode and this was bothering you the whole episode, or something that you didn't want to think about this episode, you're probably not here listening to a podcast. But if you happen to, for some reason, get here after not being okay with the episode, I would just skip this episode of the podcast and just come back and see us next week.
Indeed. And I think we'll talk. I know that there's certain things that I'm comfortable talking about, and there's certain things that I'm not necessarily comfortable talking about, or talk in a way of talking about it. So I'm happy to talk about some of the history of collection kits and some other things, but then it's as it strays into some other areas around the impact of sexual assault, especially acquaintance related, I get a little bit nervous just because it's very easy on a podcast to say something and it kind of spins the wrong way versus the way that it was intended. So I just wanted to really be mindful of my own language and my own approach to it.
Yeah.
So that we don't reactivate something for somebody, because 49% of the population is are identify as women, and how many? Yeah, it's a big issue, and it's not often talked about. And I just want to be very, as a man and a heterosexual man, I just want to be very mindful of the voice that I'm using, given that we have a podcast and microphones and such.
That's absolutely right. If we say something out of ignorance on the episode, which I think we both really try not to do,
it happens. Feel free to write in. We try, and then we say something, and it's like, oops, yeah.
Yeah. Well, feel free to write in with any feedback that you have for us. We're people who are learning too. So if you want to write in about anything else, of course, you can send an email. Did you already make this email address, David?
I will immediately after this episode. I wrote it down, but then I forgot to get it done.
All right. ptmc@thelorehounds.com is where you can send your emails. Or you can just go to the Discord server, which is linked in the show notes, where you can chat about it, with all your fellow pitheads.
There are a lot of pitheads in the world, too. I've been monitoring the Reddits. And man, this show is unbelievable, the amount of the volume of commentary and reaction. It's like really becoming a cultural phenomenon. People love medical dramas and people love quality television. And this show is Venn diagramming that pretty perfectly.
I think it's something where, like, you know, we cover a lot of shows where there's lore behind it, hence the name, the Lorehounds. But this is, you know, you don't need to learn any lore to jump into this. You can just jump in.
Yeah. Right.
And the show will tell you what you need to know right away.
Right. It's true. I guess we just lean into our hot takes from here. Yeah.
Yeah.
And as I was saying before, there are these second and third layer things. So not only is there the sexual assault storyline, but there's a self-harm flat moment there with one of our characters with Santos in the bathroom. There's a mention of a hospital in Kabul, which I have got not a deep dive on, but I have some historical and contextual information about that. We have the issue of ransomware, which is like a really scary thing that's impacting hospitals. I did a little bit of reading on that. I don't have a lot of information. It's mostly statistics, but I have some context on it. And then there's this whole other question of death with dignity, I think is what's happening with, what's her name? It's in my Roxy, thanks. Yeah, I've got a big list of all the patients down here at the bottom.
We may be going there. We'll see.
Oh, and I have a working theory for what's going on with Dr. Al-Hashimi, so we'll get to it when we get to that. But otherwise, there was just we have a ramping up of the stakes. And we have some more character development. I mean, Al-Hashimi and Santos, there was sort of a rebalancing there. Meanwhile, we have Robbie and Langdon. Langdon, you know, it's interesting. I think you called it out very early on that Al-Hashimi and Robbie are going to mirror each other this season. And we're kind of seeing this back and forth between, like, say, with Santos and Al-Hashimi and Langdon and Robbie, this sort of sloshing back and forth.
Yeah.
So I think it's all super interesting. And then I was just noticing when I did my second watch, like I said, we're leaning into the show a little bit more. I'm doing a second watch. I'm taking more notes. I think we'll slow down on recording so that we have sort of more time. So to actually approach the show in a little bit deeper level. But on my second watch, I was noticing like all of these small little details, like Mr. Diaz sitting in his hospital room when we were, you know, at the desk talking with some other people. Or there was this little scene of Robbie cleaning his watch, right? For, you know, the blood on his watch band. Or in another scene, we see Mohan and Abbott standing and talking together at a computer terminal in the central area after she's patched him up. So they're doing a really good job of creating dimensionality to this. So even though our primary camera is following a particular storyline, that doesn't stop all of the background action from constantly going on. And there's lots of richness and detail in this. So I can really see why people are leaning into the show, and it's got everything, right? You know, so now we're shipping Mohan and Abbott, and we've got interpersonal drama, and we have medical drama, and we have sociological stuff happening, sociologically wide stuff. Dr. Ellis made an appearance again this episode. So
I don't think this is a shipping show. I just want to say that.
Okay.
This is a mentor shipping at the most, I think. I just don't think it's that kind of show. You know what I mean? Like Grey's Anatomy would have absolutely been like, and
already on this,
but I just don't think that that's what this show does.
Well, I will push back gently. There is a screenshot that I took and I posted in our channel on our Discord for conversation of Dr. Mohan giving Abbott a look after he says, I'll pay for the Uber or whatever, you know, I'll pay for it. And she looks at him like she's hungry, thirsty.
I thought it was more admiration, but
freeze frame. I went frame by frame and I pulled the shot. Go to the Discord channel, and she is looking like, "Yeah, I'm gonna break you, dude. I'm gonna take you down."
She's all right. Okay. I did enjoy Robbie walking past the room while she's stitching him up.
That's turned into a meme instantly already.
I know. He the way he leans back and then he's like, you know what? Not my problem. I'm walking away.
It's so perfect.
I don't need to know anything about what's happening in that room.
And then later, Santos and Al-Hashimi are walking by and Santos does a double take. So it's great. Anyway, so what did you think of the episode besides?
I thought it was great and also very sad. I was like, wow, this is really masterful storytelling, and I don't want to watch it again because it was just so upsetting that first step. We have this whole thing with the guy who can't afford his health insurance. We have Abbott and Al-Hashimi talking about their trauma. We have Al-Hashimi, possibly having maybe a neurological issue, something like that. We have Santos' self-harm. And then we have the main trauma, which is, we're dealing with a sexual assault victim the entire episode. And not only is the sexual assault victim having a really hard time, obviously, but Dana is, having a hard time
affected
going
by
through this.
She's being affected by it.
And I did think that it was done in a way that was very sensitive and very, and I thought it said something new that I haven't seen before, which is, we talk a lot about, well, a lot of women don't report their sexual assaults, right? The reason, and a lot of people don't realize this, is just that, like, you have to relive the trauma in the exam room, right? Like, and now this is twice now since she's been in the exam room where this woman has been asked to repeat the trauma that happened to her, to re-explain it,
right,
to Dana, to the advocate that comes in, and then if she chooses to report, she has to talk to the police again.
Right.
Not only that, but she has to get this like really in-depth exam. They have to put masks on and be super impersonal about it because of the lack of contamination. It puts up a barrier and makes you feel like a specimen instead of a person.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, medicalized. Objectified again.
And I think that what they're trying to say with it is, even when you have someone really empathetic and really kind like Dana.
And skilled,
even if everyone does everything by the book and right and kind, it's still traumatic. Right. There is no way around that trauma. It is just a horrendous process for the victim.
Right.
And that's interesting, right? That's a new thing that you're saying, because you're not saying that just the crime was the trauma. You're saying that even if everyone after the crime had the best of intentions and is doing their best and doing their kindest, it is still a horrendous experience.
Right.
That I think is worth saying. And that is not bringing sexual assault into an episode just to have shock value. That is bringing it in to say something new.
Right. And then when we think about the broader picture of it, this is only if Alana chooses to report, then this is the only part of a very long process that goes through the crime reporting aspect of it. And then if it gets moved to, if the state or the city or whomever chooses, the district attorney or whatever, the prosecuting attorneys pick up the case, they do a whole investigation. And then if you actually move into the courtroom environment, you have that whole process. And then even after that, there is a whole process depending on what happens to that person, whether they're convicted or not, and whether they're registered on a list, whether they're incarcerated or not. There's all kinds of victim, like we have to notify you before they get out of jail, and all these kinds of things.
Right.
It is not a moment. It is not the moment of the incident can stretch years and years and years across somebody's life. And when Dana says, this won't define you, it's like, damn, that's kind of a bitter, sweet sentiment, statement in that moment, because she's trying to.
It feels empty, right?
When you look at the totality of what's going on.
I know that Dana meant her best by that. Obviously, this is affecting her too. She breaks down in tears the minute Alana, it was Alana, right?
Alana, yeah.
The minute Alana leaves the room, Dana's breaking down in tears. But I just, like you're saying, this process it just takes years, and you have so much sympathy for Alana. And what Dana's saying, this won't define you. Like, in the long term, she could be right. But it's not going to feel like that to Alana for at least a couple years.
At least.
Right.
At least.
And on the day of the incident, it's a tough thing.
I want to give a quick shout out to Tina Levelv. I can't pronounce her last name. It's Lvlev, according to IMDb.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not sure exactly how to pronounce that series of consonants, so I apologize. But she's an American actress, and get this. She plays Night Sister Marin in the video games Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order and Star Wars Jedi Survivor.
Yeah, I've played the first one, and I've read the book that's a spinoff. Very cool character. I did not realize it was her until you posted that in the Discord.
Yeah.
But, and see, you can get those lightning fast insights on the Discord. So head on to the Discord server.
That's right.
But yeah, I mean, I thought she did a great job this episode. She's great as Marin. So it's cool to make that connection. It's
really next level acting that she's doing because she's dealing with the embarrassment and the anger and the frustration. She's trying to keep a stiff upper lip during the examination process, but, keeping her emotions in check. Like, as an actor, her portrayal is next level. Like, to me, like award-winning next level subtlety in how she's conveying what this character is going through.
The way that she is portraying someone who is feeling huge emotions but trying to keep a straight face and keep calm
and chill about it. And
right.
Yeah, exactly.
Try to act like it's not, taking over her whole mentality right now. I just thought it was very impressive, like you're saying. Like it was really a masterclass in emotional acting.
Yeah. Since we're here, let's just finish up this topical area and then move on.
I think that's right. Yeah,
get it completed. Another note that I had: did you have any other hot takes for the episode, or are you?
No, it's very sad.
Yeah,
it was just overall a really sad episode. And of course we get the amazing setup of let's go analog, baby.
No AI subplot for this going forward. So
I really wonder. But so here's my prediction for that is that she's going to be humbled a bit on the AI stuff, but at the same time, her patient passports are going to be a life-saving thing.
Interesting. I like that. That's
because they're going to have everybody's procedures written down.
Gotcha.
And it's going to help them actually.
Oh, that's a great insight. I hadn't even thought about that. Totally. Because they were using they set it up comedically.
Yeah.
With them, everybody using them as to fan themselves in the waiting room. Good.
It's going to be a win some lose some situation for Dr. Al-Hashimi.
I like it. I like it a lot. Back to Ilana really quick, and then we can move on to the rest of the outline. I thought having Emma as the teaching nurse, as the new nurse is a great functional element for the exposition that we, the audience, need to be able to enter into this situation, which is complex and difficult. And Dana checks in with Emma a couple of times, like, look, if you need a break, or are you sure you ready for this? It's great. And then she gets to explain the things that we need. And obviously she's explaining to Ilana. So I think structurally, as a written story for television, they did a masterful job at sort of navigating and having entry points for us as the audience to begin to engage. And I think even then, without calling it a trigger warning in the show, they give us the warning that we need to say, hey, we're going to be talking about this, Emma. If you need to not watch this, if you need to not participate, let me know and you can step out. And that sort of works for us as a television audience saying, oh, maybe I shouldn't watch this if this is something that's really close to me. So I just thought that was really well done. Like, it's just really, really good writing.
Yeah.
And to figure that they did this within a year, right? They were already writing these episodes, as last season was finishing.
Right. They were filming the last couple episodes while the season was starting. Like,
right.
This is like 2010 TV, baby. This is we're going for it.
It's great.
I really liked when she starts talking about the sane position.
Yes.
And Dr. Al-Hashimi says to Emma, "Oh, that's a not so subtle hint to go get certified."
Yes, exactly. Which is when the show wants to give us social commentary, they put the social commentary right in front of us. Like, There are not enough of sane certified people in the world.
Right.
Everybody else. So I did a little reading about the sane thing. I thought she was saying saint, and I was like, oh, that's a good acronym, but it's S-A-N-E.
Oh, I had subtitles on, so it never. I have to have subtitles on for Dana. What the hell is she saying?
I'm 50-50 with my subtitles.
I never watch without subtitles.
Yes, you are of your generation.
Never,
this
ever,
is a thing. You and the boomers have something in common, turning on subtitles. Us Xers are stuck in the middle. I do have the on replay thing, which I like. I can then just hit 10 seconds back and then it'll turn it on.
That's good with the Roku, but let me take a tangent here. I had a Roku set up. It was fine. And on the same TV, I switched back to an old Apple TV 4K I had sitting around. Uh-huh. It looks better. On the same exact TV. It's absolutely better looking.
Which Roku?
It was the Roku Ultra.
Okay.
It was like the good Roku.
Okay. Interesting.
And I was like, I wonder why this is a thing.
We have a Roku soundbar, which I like, actually.
Okay.
So works well. Anyway, nice. We don't have a very fancy setup on my house, so it's good enough. Anyway, back to sane nurses. So you need to be a registered nurse with a couple of years experience. Then there's about 40 hours of class work. And then anywhere, I saw a range of anywhere between 40 and 90 hours of practical work before you can pass a sort of board certified test, right? Your certification test.
I'm sure that varies by state because, nursing licenses are all state-based.
Oh, okay. Got it. Interesting. That makes sense then. That's why it would be listed that. And then there are adult and sadly pediatric subspecialties, right? I think you default into one, but if take the other, you can. And then there's this whole interplay, which we saw with Dr. Al-Hashimi and Dana doing the collection kit between stabilizing a patient and doing the forensic collection for evidentiary purposes. And so it's like, when you have a patient who has life-threatening injuries, and then when the two things happen, there's this whole interplay. It gets rather complex, which is why you need a lot of experience and a lot of management. There was something that was brought up on the Discord as well about, when Dana took a break. These kits can be saved and not, if the person doesn't want to report it, these kits can be saved and then used later, depending on statute of limitations and all that kind of stuff. But because they are admissible by as evidence in a court, you have to have strict chain of custody.
Right.
And so when Dana says, I can't leave the room once I break the seal on this box, she can't leave again until Ilana says, we're done. And then she seals up all of that evidence and then signs off on it. Then she can go back to helping in the rest of the hospital.
Right.
So
they lose their charge nurse too for a little while, which is tough.
Exactly.
Yeah, I one of the issues though with this, these rape kits is that they were sitting for a really long time and not being tested.
Right.
And I know that there's been a push to reform, but there's been a push to reform in the last 10 years.
Right.
Where now people are, there was a certain amount of time where they could throw them out after, and there's been a push to extend or eliminate the time frame where they can throw them out.
Okay.
Because, they were like, people are, unable to access the proof that they had.
Right.
So yeah, that was a huge issue.
And I think this goes back to your earlier point that you started to bring up, which is there's the trauma of the incident itself, and then there's the institutional processes, which can re-traumatize. But how do we have an adversarial criminal system, right?
Right.
And it has forms and procedures which weren't necessarily designed to address this type of crime, the effect that this type of crime has on an individual.
Yeah.
It's really complex. The rape kits were developed in the 70s in Chicago. Marty Goddard. There's a whole great Wikipedia article on this, and I would encourage folks to go check it out. And then there was a guy named Louis Vitullo, who is a police sergeant and the chief microanalyst at the city's crime lab. Now, there seemed to be a lot of animosity between Goddard and Vitullo. Goddard brought it to Vitullo. Vitullo wasn't very kind in the reception of it, and then tried to take credit for it. And then through, just through people being present to history, we kind of see the dual development. But Vitullo did do a lot of work to standardize and create systems around the collection kits themselves to make them, highly functional. And it's basically a collection of boxes and microscope slides and plastic bags to collect things like clothing fibers, hairs, saliva, and other bodily fluids in this very proceduralized process. And the idea is that you go through it in a particular order so that you don't miss steps, right? It's a very, so that way when the evidence is used later on, it's whole and it's as whole as complete as is possible, given the circumstances during the time of collection. So, and I'm really surprised it's only in the 70s that these things were invented, and it was because there was just a big problem in Chicago, and there was a lack of prosecuting these crimes. But then again, going back to our current legal system, you need the evidence to be able to bring into court to prosecute crimes. And so it's developed during that time. So,
no, it's very interesting. I was not aware of the history behind it. It's, again, like it's something where you need it to function in this prosecutorial system, but it also is very cold and impersonal. Yeah.
And that's where you have somebody like Dana, who, she's probably, who knows what her personal experience is, but just the fact that she is a care provider who has to do this kind of work. How many times has she done it? How many lives has she seen impacted by this type of crime? There's a lot of, she may not even ever have had a direct experience in that regard, but she worked, we know that she's been assaulted. We know that, that she's had it hard. So in some ways. And so she could just be feeling the weight of it.
Yeah.
Right. And just the fact that she has to deal with this as a person. And we see the impact of all kinds of medical trauma on Robbie, on Abbott, on all of our characters here. So,
what I'm just remembering too is Dana, when asked by Langdon if she pressed charges against the guy who assaulted her, who punched her last season, she said, "Nah, I didn't want to go through all that."
Good catch.
Right. I wonder if that's, playing into this a little bit.
Right. And she went for it when that guy grabbed Emma's wrist. She was, but she maintained professionalism in the sense of not rolling him out of the emergency department,
right,
and kicking the crap out of him. Anyway,
right. She yelled at him in whatever that accent is. Maybe she learned her accent from Florence Nightingale.
Maybe she did. So we had MacGyver and Florence Nightingale. Did you know much about Florence Nightingale before?
I knew the name and the why, but I don't know anything about her.
Right. So I did a little reading again on this. So she was a British nurse who led a team in what is now Istanbul during the Crimean War, which lasted from 1854 to 1856. And when she got there, they found these filthy, overcrowded conditions, and they were a lot of patients dying from infection and disease rather than their battle wounds. So she, like Emma said, is sort of the founder of modern nursing, in not only in terms of instituting basic sanitation, because this was sort of pre-germ theory stuff or early germ theory stuff, but also in thinking about statistics and patient care and being able to use statistics to measure the effect of, hey, let's separate the beds a little bit. Let's provide a little bit more ventilation. Let's wash their linens. So doing these basic things and then being able to measure that with statistics, measure the impact. She was really at the center of that.
And the doctor comes in and says, "Foolish woman, the people's humors are out and out of order."
Exactly. Right. And I guess the soldiers nicknamed her the lady with the lamp because she would do her rounds at night with this little lamp, checking her patients as she went. So yes, Florence Nightingale, an actual historic figure, unlike MacGyver, unlike our friend MacGyver, who we got name dropped the other day. So
it's interesting background lore, and amazing that Dana's been working this long.
Yeah, yes, exactly. Because she shared a room with her. That's right. Oh, good God! Did you hear that?
I heard it, but I don't know what it is.
You want to maybe mark that. That is all the snow from the front side of my house releasing and dropping onto the ground. So
you know what? I'm not going to marker it. David has to go to the pit because he's been injured,
struck by
his snow.
Struck by rogue snow. Yeah, that was exciting. You know, I've gotten used to it, but that one was quite big. But it sounds like a freight train running down the roof of your house. And then if you are lucky to catch it looking out your window, it is quite a show. I mean, an avalanche is a scary thing. And thoughts to those folks in California who passed away in that avalanche. But anyway, moving on. What do you want to talk about now? There's a whole big outline here.
There is, but before we get to that, we're going to take a quick break.
Sounds like a good plan.
We're back. Do we want to talk about the beef?
The beef?
Robbie versus Langdon.
Yes. Yeah. What do you got on the beef?
First of all, very presidential of them to be yelling in front of a helicopter instead of just having a normal conversation.
True.
What is it with this? Like, why do people do this? Just have your conversation any other time. Also, like, they were in an elevator together. It's not like they weren't alone before that.
Well, I think, Langdon was using the imminent arrival of the patient as a way to spit out and sort of force Robbie. Like, he's, granted, Robbie doesn't have a lot of time to respond in that moment. Langdon sort of set that up because he knows that this patient's about to come out, and he got what he got. I'm not defending I'm not defending Robbie, but I'm also sort of just critiquing Langdon's strategic tactical approach here of
but Langdon has tried to talk to Robbie privately.
Fair. Absolutely.
Like 10 times
100%.
already. So I kind of don't blame him for just seizing whatever moment he can. I am critical of his location.
Sure.
But at the same time, like, I'm kind of surprised Robbie didn't go like, I can't hear you. Too loud. Sorry. Talk later.
Well, yeah, and then Langdon's just shouting at him. He's using the ability. Yeah, he's like, I can, in this moment. But I will say, not unlike Al Hashimi the other week with Santos, Robbie just cut the legs out underneath Langdon here by saying, I don't know if I want you in my department. And we see the effect of that where Langdon is suddenly unsure of himself until he kind of locks in with Garcia later, right? And has somebody he feels a level of comfort with, that he knows respects him, even though they like to hang shit on each other all the time.
It's tough. I think you're right. That was not the way to say that. I think that should have been a one-on-one when things are calm. And also, you were fine with him coming back the day after you and then just sitting there for 3 months.
Yeah.
You couldn't just hold your tongue on that until you come back, like, see how he did.
Right. Exactly.
It's not your ER for 3 months.
Right. You're right. Which I think is interesting when we talk about the hospital administrator, like what's going on there and where, and Robbie says to Santos, if you see me here in the emergency department, I am your boss, regardless of whether I'm on duty or not.
Yeah.
Right. So Robbie has this sort of sense about himself as like, he is the chief of the emergency department.
Right. This is my house.
Exactly. So I thought it was interesting too. I was thinking about Robbie's whole approach to Langdon, and then I forget where it was. It might have been, I might have heard this on another podcast, or I might have read this somewhere online, and I apologize, I can't recall the sourcing. It was in the moment. But apparently there was an interview possibly with Noah Wiley or somebody else, and they were talking about Robbie and his relationship with Langdon. And what I picked up was that what we're seeing is Robbie's guilt. that's showing up in the animosity, not Robbie's true anger. But Robbie feels that he failed Langdon by not being, and which maybe explains why he's so interested in Huckleberry this episode.
He's like, I gotta be right in this guy's life. I gotta know everything that's going on.
I think he's trying to make up for his failure with Langdon by getting involved, because we've seen him observing Whitaker a whole bunch this episode, right?
Yeah. I think you're right. I think you're picking up on something. This is, I just finished the Stormlight Archive, and one of the themes is you have to grow, you have to, I'll protect people, and eventually you have to realize, like, I can't save them all. That's one of the lessons you have to learn.
Okay.
And Robbie never learned that lesson.
Okay.
Robbie never learned to let go of, I will do my best to help people and protect people, but I am not the only one doing that, and I can't save everybody.
And then when you reflect on Jake from season 1, which Langdon asks him about, and Jake's girlfriend, I apologize, I forget Jake's girlfriend's name, who died.
Well, she's not going to be recurring.
No, she's not. But there's that guilt there, right there, that he is trying to, he feels that he has this obligation to save everyone.
He does, and that's what causes him to have a whole breakdown in season 1.
Exactly. Never mind. And then, of course, losing his mentor on that same day. So, yeah. All right. A little Nepo action with Javadi's career there.
Yeah. Her dad's funny. Seriously, don't tell your mom.
No, seriously. I'm joking, but I'm not.
He was funny. He looked familiar. I forgot to look him up, but he looked familiar, like I'd seen him in something else. But So, yeah, I see you say here that, Javadi probably has her heart set on the ER. I think that could be true, but I don't know if it's the right reasons. I think it might be, I need to do something that's the opposite of my parents. Okay.
Right. Which could be a primary motivator. Well, like, you can't necessarily see that in the moment.
Yeah.
Right. Your inner voice is saying something, and you're not realizing that it's actually in reaction to something else as opposed to a clear-headed choice.
Look, I've been there. I've been 20 years old and been like, my dad wants me to go this career path, and I don't want to. And I am currently in that career path. So,
right.
We, sometimes we resist things, but our parents do know, they do read us, right? They've had more life experience, and they can sometimes know. Not saying that everybody has to listen to their parents' career advice, but like your parents do have some life experience, and you should consider what they suggest because they know you a lot and they know life.
Quick shout out to the Captain's Pod, our friends at another podcast who are covering Star Trek Starfleet Academy, and episode 7. I won't spoil anything, but that they deal with that part of they deal with that sort of story trope of a person rebelling against their familial and social obligations, and whether they've chosen it or not, and that kind of thing. So really, really fun episode 7 where they kind of upend that same storyline in a really interesting way.
That's cool.
I think it was Sub-Zero on our Discord channel was saying something about immigrant parents and expectations for first and second generation families. And that there is, or was it in relation to something else? Maybe it was another show, where somebody was pursuing an artistic. Oh, it was, I think it was Sub-Zero in the Wonder Man, channel. And they were talking about a Haitian family and the primary character pursuing art, where the older brother pursued a financially stable career, and the tension therein in the family in terms of security, financial security, versus pursuing individual expression and creativity.
It's the plot of A Real Pain too.
Okay. Oh, yes, indeed it is. Right.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
The Boromir Faramir.
Right. Exactly.
Cool. So we talked a little bit about Mohan and Abbott.
The shippers are all over. There are many ships sailing into this harbor.
They are not age appropriate.
They are.
I just want to say that.
It's consenting adults? I don't know.
They're consenting adults and like whatever, but like, I don't know.
Did you see the photo that I put in the Discord? You should look at that. I spoiler tagged it just because, it's an open channel. I guess there is some season 1 setup for this. There was a couple of comments traded, I believe, during the Pitt Fest shooting incident, casualty incident, but I can't remember the exact episode. And I heard another podcast talking about this, and I think I saw a stray on the internets as well, that there was at least one interaction where, or maybe some comments from Abbott about that. So when people say it, right, they're this has been primed. People were shipping them last season. So
that's interesting.
Yeah,
interesting.
On the Robbie walking by and tilting his head back. I just saw a technical shout out. The way that they quote unquote rack focus. So racking focus is when you change the focal length, and things come in and out of focus. The background there is out of focus, and just as Robbie comes across the doorway, and as he's mid doorway, focus shifts to him, and then as he's leaning back, but his momentum is still carrying him forward. They rack back out. It is perfectly timed.
So the cameraman's hilarious. That's what
they are on it. These
camera operator is hilarious.
They are so good. I love it. Love every minute of it.
Very cool.
So you're not down for the you want to keep this a cleaner?
I'm not sold
story?
yet. I'm not sold yet. We'll see. We'll see what's going on. I mean, I will say Al Hashimi seems to be having a bond with Abbott too.
Right. And
did you see how? I mean, we didn't really get to that quite yet, but. Did you see how Robbie was kind of like, when she saw them like getting along?
Yep. Yeah.
Because somebody said, I think on Reddit, like, that Robbie was like texting Abbott to talk shit every time he had a spare moment that day. Like this new hire from Gloria just sucks, man. Like, she's just trying to take over my ER and this and that. And Abbott's going, I got you, buddy. I'll be in soon. And we'll don't worry. You'll have a friend in there. Yeah. And then they bond, and Robbie's like, fuck.
And they, what do you say? Gloria's quote unquote new hire. Gloria's new hire.
Right. Not the hospital's new hire.
Right.
Not the new doctor. Gloria's new hire.
Youch.
And everybody knows how this floor feels about Gloria.
Jumping ahead really quick, because of that tension there with Robbie and her, do you think, why did the hospital administrator call Hashimi up instead of Robbie, even though Robbie is the on paper chief and he's only going on a temporary leave? I was wondering, I was kind of headcaning, did they think that he was already gone, or like?
Could be that she's going to be the one dealing with the aftermath tomorrow.
Right.
Right. Like if they have to now re-enter all the data tomorrow, maybe she's the one who's going to have to do it, not Robbie, because Robbie's going to be gone. It could also
she's got
be
experience in medical administration management with
maybe
technology and stuff.
But also maybe they just it is Gloria's new hire. Maybe they feel better talking to her. Robbie has yelled at Gloria on camera before. Like they clearly have an unpleasant relationship. And while I agree with a lot of Robbie's points, I think he could be a little bit better to his boss. Like he can't just yell at people like that.
Yeah, he's not diplomatic in that regard. He's not doing himself any favors.
No, and there's just very rarely a situation in the workplace that calls for that. Right. And I don't think I don't think he was justified in yelling at her.
He yelled at the boss of the woman who had the necrotizing fasciitis. Right? He
didn't yell. He just was really tough. He was like, "I will sue you."
Yeah,
but he was calm. He was calm that whole time.
Okay, all right, but still, that's pretty shocking.
There's calm rage, and I think that's what you have to have with these people. Okay.
But we'll say that he's a little Ned Stark, and he's not doing himself any political favors with the hospital administration.
Is he Ned Stark? Okay, I don't know. Right. No, because Ned Stark is like a lawful good. You know what I mean? Like he is just lawful good. Is Robbie's good? I believe that. Is Robbie a lawful good? No, I don't think so. I think Robbie has some chaos energy going on.
Here's my argument for it. It's that he is whether intentionally or unintentionally, oblivious to the damage caused by not politicking for his job. He is in a political position
true.
within the hospital administration, and he doesn't care the downstream effects of him being kind of a cowboy. Whereas Ned was like, I'm honorable and I'm good and I'm going to play by the rules. And he lost his, he was blind to how that would affect the situation around him. Robbie is also blind to how his behavior is creating resistance around him. I guess.
Yeah, I was just feeling some resistance because Ned was like proper channels, proper channels. You know, let me do everything by the book, and once I reveal the truth, everyone will be good. And
right, because we'll all see the truth. We'll reveal all, and we will all understand the truth.
I just saw a TikTok at some point or a video at some point, where they said my roommate's watching Game of Thrones the first time. They're in the second to last episode of the season. They're telling me, I wonder how Ned's going to get out of this.
Oh man,
that's so good.
That I think, that when that happened, right, it changed everybody the first time they saw that.
It's still, I think, one of the best fake outs in all of television. Maybe the best.
Fake out? You're calling it a fake out? That's interesting. Okay.
Because they make you think he's going to be the main character.
Sean Bean, right? Not. Yeah, A-list actor.
Right.
Yeah, good point.
We call him Sheen Bean in my house.
Got it.
You know.
So back to the Pitt and Dr. Al-Hashimi. So she mentioned. So there's a mention of the Dasht Barach Hospital, which is a neighborhood in Kabul. And MSF was operating a maternity ward in this hospital, in this neighborhood. And that hospital and that particular maternity ward served a Hazara community, which is a community within Afghanistan, in Kabul, that are predominantly Shia Muslim, that have historic origins in central Afghanistan, or to the Mongol tribes in sort of Central Asian. So they're a little bit different than other communities that are there. And the Hazara, and again, I'm just reading this, so this isn't like my stuff that I know very well. So I just read some Wikipedia stuff. And there's been a long history of persecution and enslavement and sort of marginalization, almost to a caste-like status, where people, if they're Hazara, people will only hire them for certain jobs. And a lot of it has to do with ancestral roots, but also there's the sort of bigotry between Shia and Sunni.
Yes, that is huge, and people do not realize it.
Right. And the fact that the Hazara occupied a lot of fertile lands. And so other people were like, oh, we want those lands. And so now that there's all this kind of stuff. So in 2020, there was an attack on the hospital that targeted the maternity ward specifically. And I guess no known responsible group, nobody has ever been able to make a final determination, was this particular sect or a particular terrorist organization or a particular warlord or anything like that. Nobody has figured out publicly. They're right. Obviously, they haven't been able to find that information to publish it. And then MSF, Médecins Sans Frontières, left the area, that hospital, after that. MSF is, in English, Doctors Without Borders. So a pretty brutal circumstance, a very terrible kind of thing. And then I think that's what's leading into the theories around Dr. Al-Hashimi in her reactions to baby Jane Doe. But then she calls the Pittsburgh Neuroscience Group to talk to Dr. Fairgraves. And we don't know, is this what the neuroscience group is? Are they dealing with sort of neurology? Are they dealing with neuropsychology? We're not sure. But my working theory now is that she has a combination of traumatic brain injury, TBI, and PTSD, right? So PTSD, right, traumatic circumstances, But the traumatic brain injury or something similar would be actual physiological injury, or no, sorry, neurological injury.
Right.
And that oftentimes these two things go together, but their diagnoses are rather difficult to separate because they're very intertwined and can be masking each other.
Can I also say this also makes, if she was here for this event, that would make Robbie's, does the VA even have a trauma center? Like, way worse for him to have said, like, learn the history of your coworkers before you try to say that they're inexperienced.
That's a really good call, John. That's actually, I didn't even think about that. He
makes a lot of assumptions about people.
100%. 100%. And I think they're tricking us a little bit in the writing, given that, AI, this, and, she's, my patient scores are up 45% and all this kind of stuff. When in fact, she's got chops as good as anything that Robbie or Abbott have.
I think she has chops. I think she doesn't use them yet.
Yes.
Because she is extremely risk averse. And perhaps her trauma is part of why she's risk averse.
Interesting. I like it. I like that. And again,
I just don't think we've seen her be as MacGyver-y as she could be. She had that one MacGyver moment, but I don't think we've seen her be as MacGyver-y as she can be.
Interesting. Okay. I like it.
They're going to learn from each other. That's my prediction. And I think they already are a little bit. But this ransomware attack, this is going to push them to need to collaborate. You're going to need Robbie's moxie, and you're going to need her organizational skills.
I like it. So not even beyond a mirror, because like the mirror is the simple story framing device, right? Put these two together. Right. But the really cool thing, the next level thing would be to have them as sort of puzzle pieces for each other.
Yeah.
That they unlock each other in
the enemies to lovers arc is really going strong.
Yes. Yeah, for sure. For sure. All right. I like that. Oh, it's a good spin. All right. This is a good podcast. I'm glad we're leaning into this a little bit more.
I'm glad that you are giving us 5 stars, and you folks in the listenership should also give us 5 stars.
What do you want to talk about next?
You've got some ASL notes, I see.
Yes. So this has been, people have been discussing this a lot in a lot of spaces. And I have a personal connection to this as well. I used to work I attended and then worked at a community college in Seattle that had a huge ASL program, like one of the national leading ASL programs. So I had a lot of friends, both hearing and non-hearing, who were learning ASL. Went out on a date with somebody from that program as well, who was not hearing. It didn't work out. I'm very sad about that because she was a real one. And we sat at a coffee shop for like an hour and a half, writing notes to each other, back and forth. And it was physically exhausting, like writing out all of this stuff. And it was very, very difficult, ultimately, to have communication. And the point of that little story is that ASL is not English. And right. I don't want to be all finger waggy about it, but it's really important that people get the point that ASL has a different grammar structure. It has a different syntax. It has different vocabulary, different cultural foundations. It is non-linear and spatial, where written English is linear. ASL relies on facial expressions, body language to convey tone and meaning that don't translate directly into written words. So if you ever see an ASL interpreter, you watch their face, watch their hands, watch their shoulders, watch their arm movements.
We watch Miss Rachel. Yeah.
I've never watched Miss Rachel.
Oh, Miss Rachel has sometimes ASL interpreters on.
Okay.
And yeah, it's very expressive. And they're real ones, not the ones that the different governments accidentally hire that are impersonators. That was like a big thing a couple years ago. Like I didn't know about that. All these governments were getting like defrauded by these ASL interpreter fake people. Were basically they were just like dancing on stage.
That's messed up.
And pretend, yeah, it is messed up. And finally, like deaf people kept writing in like, hey, they're just doing jazz hands. Like there's no ASL happening.
That's bad.
And if you watch, can I just say, like, it's a terrible thing. But if you watch the fake interpreters, like, it is funny to know it's fake, and they're just like, what the hell are they doing up there?
They're really leaning into it. I will say, dancing around though, like, watch ASL interpreters or sign language interpreters for rock concerts or musical stuff. Amazing, because they dance and they put a bunch of artistic expression into it as much. It's incredible. It's very cool. So, in short, without being too preachy or finger waggy, written English is not a substitute for American Sign Language or any sign language. And then we even see they bring it up in the show when Santos writes, I'm going to send you for a head and abdomen CT scan. And I apologize, I have her here somewhere. Harlow says, like, wait, what? She may not know what CT means, because I think Abbott just writes CT.
Yeah.
She may not know what CT necessarily stands for. Not everybody knows what a CT scan is or an MRI scan.
I don't think I can tell you what the acronym actually stands for. I know what it is, in theory.
So right there, they're pointing to the fact that just because she wrote something down doesn't mean that meaning is conveyed.
Yeah.
And then that you have the patient's consent. Because now you've got to go back and forth. Like, I don't understand, but Santos is flustered and leaves the room because of all the other things going on. Can written English be used in a stopgap or in a kind of a like, hang on for a minute while we sort of work this out? Yeah, that's fine. But one of the things that, public health institutions and public institutions in general is just like, we should be able to address people in the language of that is, especially for legal things or medical things where nuance is really important. People have a kind of a human right to be addressed in the language that makes that they can communicate the best in. Right?
Yeah. No, I again, I don't talk about my job here, but I do have a very, very small potential for public facing, speaking to somebody on the other side from the general public rather than, as people in my work. And every year I'm required to take language training. And one of the things that they say over and over and over again is that writing is not a substitute.
Yes.
They say you get the interpreter. You do not. They say, I think I've said this before on a different episode, speaking to the person and not to the interpreter is the other thing that's extremely important.
Right. And you get it. Like, there's some human things that go on, and we may have to reframe ourselves. That's fine. It's totally cool. And not everybody.
And that's why we have training, right? Like,
exactly.
That's the whole thing.
And podcasts like this, where we can talk about something like that, and
this
without
is
being
your
preachy.
Training, actually.
Yeah, you can mark this down as your training now, John. And this is a problem of distribution and availability of resources. It's not that the hospital's not trying to do it. Obviously, Santos is pressed for time and makes a not great decision to leave the room once the interpreter gets there. That's part of the story drama that's going on there. But then on the VRI terminal, obviously the video remote interpreting, obviously she's talking to IT who's saying, like, did you turn it on and turn it off again to reset it, which is very funny.
Yeah.
But there's HIPAA compliance, right? And there is, you can't just set up a laptop with a Zoom thing, right? Because of all, secure connections. I don't know if you've been to a hospital recently. I don't know. Have you noticed the operating system that they're running? A lot of times they're running much older technology for those systems.
I don't know. I was there for like 3 hours waiting, and they had a slideshow of all the veterans that work for the hospital system. Uh-huh. And I learned a lot about that. That's all I learned.
It got on the screen there.
That was it. Well, Dr. Abbott wasn't there, unfortunately, but they did have quite an array.
When I had a family member getting a procedure that I went to sit in, this is a number of years ago now too, like over 10 years ago, but they were running like Windows XP or Windows 95 or something like that.
Yeah, they take a while, but now you have the issue of and this actually pissed a lot of people off, is that Microsoft had said that Windows 10 was going to be like the final version of Windows.
Yeah.
And that they were going to just keep updating it and you're going to be fine with this. We'll just keep doing iterations of it. And then they said, no, everybody has to go to Windows 11. We're going to up the minimum specs to go to Windows 11. And in a year, we're going to stop supporting security on Windows 10.
Yep. Was
a huge issue. And, all these workplaces had to replace a lot of machines. And it was a big thing. Everybody was pissed off at Microsoft.
and we're not sponsored by Microsoft, and I don't think they will be anytime soon.
I'm pissed at Microsoft for a lot of reasons right now. So
sure.
So
yeah, I heard. Well, okay. Here's the pile on. This is the pile on Windows section of the podcast. I've heard that there's a lot of push advertising and sort of bloated stuff in Windows 11. I have a lot of.
I have Windows 11. I haven't experienced that, but
okay.
I don't know. Maybe I'm just better at ignoring it.
Okay.
I mean, I use Windows primarily and not Mac OS anymore. I actually prefer Windows over Mac OS I just think it's easier to customize and do what I want with it. Oh, I know you're making your faces, little Mac boy. All right. He's loyal, but I'm just gonna say, like, my use of Windows doesn't make me hate Microsoft less.
No, and equal time, FCC equal time rules apply here. we can.
Do they? They don't. They don't. Just to be clear, Brendan Carr, they don't.
We can pile on Mac OS 26 Tahoe. It's a shit show.
Yeah, there's all these companies are just just pushing AI into everything. Let me tell. All right, this is a slight tangent, but the reason I'm pissed off at Microsoft today is that their head of gaming is leaving, and they're replacing him with the head of AI.
Oh, weird. That's a weird choice.
They're putting the head of AI now in charge of the head of gaming, and everyone's like, "We're cooked, folks." Like, wow. Microsoft gaming is probably getting. They're saying every NPC in a game is going to be a chatbot.
AI, right? Yeah. Interesting. Okay. That's a strategic choice. I mean, as long as that person has the chops from a group,
does not sound like she has any gaming experience. Experience in the industry.
Okay, but if you can lean, anyway, let's talk about leadership, right?
Yeah, but see, here's the thing: like Phil Spencer, the head of Microsoft Gaming that's leaving.
Yeah.
He literally like games as a hobby, and I think that's why people are like, oh, there was a guy who finally got it.
Right.
Who was in charge, and now he's leaving, and the AI person's coming in.
Right.
That's the tough part about it.
Okay.
Anyway.
Fair. Anyway. I hear what you're arguing.
Guy worked for the gaming division for like 20 years before he became the head. All right. Yep. Anyway.
Corporations are going to corporate, right?
Yes, they are.
That kind of stuff,
they are. So. They are. They're going to buy up all the industry, and then they're going to fail.
Speaking of IT related issues, ransomware is that's when a system is attacked and the ransomwarers, the attackers, lock up the victim's data and or systems, and then usually demand payment for decryption and reaccess.
Yep.
And apparently, and you can go online, you can read. There's just a flood of statistics. It's a big deal in the IT industry, so I'm not going to regurgitate all of that. But what the terrifying thing is that hospitals are like one of the highest value targets in this.
And why? Because they have all your health data.
Yep.
That this is a huge issue. They're making, you can look this up online. You can look up DOJ and FBI reporting of, we caught these criminals racking up this X million dollars in ransoms, and it's crazy. It's crazy.
And so there's the literal life and death of it, like pay or people die. And then there's the secondary market of patient record.
Right.
So,
and the question is, if you pay the ransom, do they actually delete it?
Right.
Or do they just say, well, we have the money now?
Yeah, we may unlock your system, but we may not, quote unquote, return or delete the data.
Right.
So.
Right.
I think it's an interesting choice. What do you think of, neither of us won the bet?
What was the bet?
About what the code black was.
Yeah.
It looked like Princess won the bet. Did you see when the hospital administrator?
Good for her.
How you doing? How you doing there, Princess? Oh, I'm a little bloated. Amid the seriousness of the show, they know how to work in the humor.
Yeah.
To leaven the thing. We talk about that a lot for a lot of shows. So good job on that, guys. Any thoughts on ransomware?
It's got to be a tough one. I didn't know that it was a cyber attack, but I knew that from the trailers that it was likely the system going down was going to be a big crisis.
Oh, got it.
And I think earlier in the season I said I think I know what's going to happen, but I'm not going to say anything.
Right.
This was the thing that was sort of spoiled for me for the trailers.
Got it.
It's like, stop doing that, folks. Stop putting the twist in the trailer.
Seriously. Do you want to take another break and then we come back, we can finish up?
Let's do it.
And we are back. Okay, so we don't have any feedback this week. I've got a few more notes that I just moved around in the outline there, so they're a little bit more coherent. We've got some miscellaneous stuff and a few patient and character stories. So what do you want to tackle?
I know you're predicting a death with dignity.
With
Roxy. I could definitely see it happening. We haven't heard much of it yet, so maybe we should save most of the discussion for when that actually
develops.
Arises. Yeah, it develops a little bit. But Mr. Diaz and medical debt, that is a tough one.
I'm like, bro, what do you expect is going to happen? You are in serious medical crisis, and going home and going to your next job is just going to land you back in the hospital. I mean, I get it. Like, I'm not unsympathetic to him, but it's like it's just so frustrating. The situation that he's in is so frustrating, and he's looking at what's in front of him as opposed to, I mean, what good is he going to be to anybody? I'm sorry. I don't want to bag on Mr. Diaz because he's in a terrible position, but it's like, that is not the right choice to be making in this moment, my man.
I know. And a lot of these people, and this is just, I've dealt with sick parents a lot. I know you have.
Yeah.
They don't realize that we'd rather have them around more than we'd like an inheritance, or we'd like an extra few bucks in the bucket. And you could see from his daughter, like, she doesn't care. She'll pick up extra shifts. She just wants her dad around. And they
live in debt for the rest of your life. I mean, yeah, fine. Like, what? It's fine.
Right. It's the number one cause of bankruptcy in this country is medical debt. And, it could be that that's their solution. It's tough. It's a tough situation, but like, be around for your kids. Don't mess with your health.
Seriously.
And it's not like this could possibly make his life a little better. It's not like an optional procedure. This is like, hey, if you don't treat this, you're going to die.
He is in serious medical. This is a crisis situation for his blood right now.
Right.
And yeah, his long-term health is on the line, literally on the line right now.
Yeah.
I'm just so bummed for this family.
Yeah.
Because they seem like a really sweet family. They seem like really salt of the earth people.
I wonder if he's coming back. This episode, right? This season, rather.
Or we're going to see him show up later in the
He collapsed again.
Yeah. That's exactly what's going to happen.
I did appreciate that. By the way, I looked at the screenshot you posted in the Discord of Mohan. I'm totally in disagreement with you. I think that's admiration. That is, wow, that's nice that he's gonna do it. I don't think that was
go back
hunger or thirst
and frame by frame and watch the sequence of her looks.
Yeah,
and you have to. They cut to her. She's looking. They cut away. They cut back, and then there's just like 5 or 6 frames where she gives this look, and man, to me, it's smoldering. So, right in, shippers.
All right.
Come on, we need some feedback from
what are we calling this? Mobit?
I'm sure there are people. I'm sure it's there. Should we talk about Mel and her sister?
Not much to say. We've kind of gone into their.
No, but I'm worried that Mel's sister is going to show up.
I don't think so.
Okay, all right.
I don't think so. Mel's got enough to deal with this season. We don't need that.
I want them to be able to go watch the fireworks.
That would be nice
tonight. So
that would be nice. Well, are you saying that is she gonna just show up to say hi rather?
She was complaining of a stomachache.
Oh, yeah.
And I was worried that maybe I'm hunting for Markleys. Maybe I'm looking for shadows where I just don't want her to end up as a patient on the show with this stomach thing. A weaker show would do that.
Yeah, I don't think
a lesser show would do that.
I'm going to bet against you on the next betting board.
Fair enough. I did want to mention that when you are in Dr. Robbie's, in the penumbra of his sunlight, you got to wear some sunblock, because when he tells Mel that she's one of the best attendings or residents that he's trained, right? I mean, that is just such an incredible endorsement of you as a person and your skill and your putting yourself into this job. But when he puts you in his shadow, like he does to Langdon, man, you got to have a parka and some of those hand warmer things, because it is subarctic when Robbie is unhappy with you.
Yeah, that's tough. That is tough.
Because he gives Mel that praise, and Mel's like, "Whoa, she's really blown away by it."
It's one of those when someone is, not often giving praise, and they finally give you praise.
Yeah.
When someone who's kind of withholding gives you praise, you're like, wow, I earned that. And maybe that's a flaw of our species, because I don't think anyone should be proud to be withholding of praise.
That's
anyway.
True. Apparently, there's a video going around with a doctor, real world doctor, Dr. Wendy Ross, who's a consulting physician to HBO. And in the video, she talks specifically about neurodivergent, people both being medical practitioners and creating, environments where neurodiverse people can feel comfortable in the environments in the space. And so they have basically, this is behind the scenes saying to everybody, yes, we designed Mel in this way to highlight this issue and to give you a character, who's on this aspect of the spectrum with her sister. So this is an intentional character design. So, and a lot of praise coming out for this in terms of how the portrayal and the acting job that is being done on here. So, because I think Mel is like everybody's favorite right now. At least there's no negative talk about Mel.
Yeah, not a lot of. She hasn't had a lot of screen time in the last few episodes. I think that's
interesting.
Thing. Yeah.
And I think that has to do with like budgets and there's all that behind the scenes stuff of how many actors get how much screen time, and
she's off cooking meth with her dad,
getting ready for freebasing before she goes to her deposition.
Want to cook, Mel?
Who's doing a deposition on July 4th?
That is, people are talking about this. It's a weekend, July 4th. And also, who scheduled her for a full shift the day of a deposition?
Exactly.
I blame Gloria.
I'm upset about this. Speaking of things about being upset, are you still upset with Jay, the actor?
Oh, she's a terrible actress. I'm sorry. Maybe she's good in something else, but in this, it's just not selling. I'm just not sold on it. I thought the rest of his family was great. Mm-hmm. This one actor really I cannot watch.
Shake it.
I can just not watch this person.
Fair enough. Dr. J gets involved though. She gets a little one-on-one with Jada there to talk her through.
Yeah. I just want to know what ER actually in the real world would have a doctor spending time tracking down a patient family member that walked away from an explanation. They would just be like, no, there's other family here. We're just going to explain to you and you can pass it along because we have limited resources and we're going to.
It's an interesting point.
I don't think that this situation has ever happened in the entire, maybe once or twice ever.
Okay.
But there's no and honestly, rightfully so. I know that it's upsetting to her, but they're trying to do their jobs. They're trying to save as many people as they can here.
Right. Stop, the conversation's got to carry on with the psychiatrist, and right. You're not going to suspend that necessarily. What did you make of the Davis family and in this issue around their son's circumstances?
I mean, an uncle with depression is not necessarily suggestive that schizophrenia is likely to develop in the family, right? I don't think that was something that they needed to tell the next generation.
Okay.
I am a member of a family that the previous generation hid so much
right.
unnecessarily. And in general, I think, at age appropriate times, disclosure is the better path.
Yeah.
At the same time, I don't think that I think that Jada's just looking for somebody to blame here, right? She's just, looking for a place to put her anger at the fact that her brother is going through this. Mm-hmm. I don't think that this has much to do with anything.
But the way the mom said, not in my side of the family, I was like, oh, she knew it. She knows exactly what's going on here. And there was a lot of tension in that family, which is kind of sad because they really need to be rallying around their son and not sort of dealing with these awkward, what I think about your relatives sort of situations. That point though on schizophrenia which I think a lot of people are going directly to, is that this is the age when a lot of times it will appear, especially in young men.
I think last episode they said that, like, classic schizophrenia presentation.
Yeah. And it's I think the rates are equal, not only for African American populations, but for men and women. And it's around a 1% rate. If, obviously numbers are what they are. However, something that I was reading into a little bit is that schizophrenia in African American communities, the diagnosis has actually been used to pathologize Black rage and to create a different kind of level of sociological control. And so there can be a lot of stigma and discomfort of addressing mental illness within African American communities. I don't have a direct experience, and so I'm just sort of
right. And you have Black rage in quotation marks. I just want to say here, because I'm not using it as something that we would use.
No. Right. Yeah. I'm using it as a right. You're right. And I'm using it as a way to highlight it to me that, medical authorities. Oh, this is just an angry Black man, and they're schizophrenic. Right. It's that.
Right. Hysteria for women.
Hysteria.
Things like that.
Exactly.
It's
exactly.
Yeah. It's there's all these ways that people, the medical profession is assisted in discrimination.
White supremacy. And misogyny. So those things are there. So there's I think that this story is starting to, maybe touch on some of those issues around mental health and mental illness within different populations and different communities. So we'll see where we go from there. I've got a few miscellaneous notes here. The patient passports as fans, but you called it out as the Dr. Al's salvation. So I like that.
As you would say, Chekhov's patient passport.
Perfect. We see Dr. Alice trying to grab a quick nap before her double. And so I'm sure we're going to see her. So we get just at episode 6, we've got, and just as on the onset of the crisis, we've got a couple of key power hitters stepping into the cast.
Yeah, I think I heard, and I didn't watch the preview, but I think I heard that she was in the preview for next episode.
Okay.
So we should see her.
I am staying away from the previously ons because I want to enjoy my experience. I don't want to be spoiled.
The next on.
Next on. Sorry. Previously ons. You're right. And I have not been listening to the official podcast, but I think I will start to pick it up because I think there'll be a lot of good embedded data and insights into things. So, and I know a lot of our folks on the Discord were mentioning things that they found, some cool insights that they've heard on the official pod. So, great exposition dump on Whitaker. Obviously, he's our Huckleberry.
That's right. He's our Huckleberry. That was good.
No, Annie. No, she's Santos with the Annie thing. No, she's an orphan. She wasn't pregnant or something. So funny.
Oh yeah, that was good. That was good.
The actor who plays Santos as well is a stage actor.
Yeah, and I was watching this with my wife, and I say my wife, not for you because I know you know that, but for the audience.
Yes.
She was laughing because she's like, and I am on Broadway.
When she's saying to Baby Jane Doe. I was like, my God, she's got a voice. I was like, wow. It reminded me when my daughter was an infant and my parents were visiting and my mom sang to my daughter that I don't think we'd sung to our daughter. This is within the couple of months of her, a month or so of her being born. And my daughter's face just lit up and she started and she got really sort of physically excited. And I was like, oh, wow, that was really cool. That first time, that she heard music. So
that's really fun.
Yeah. I was really taken by this scene and just being, taken back to being a new parent and hearing the different kinds of cry, learning the different cries. What's a hungry cry versus a poopy diaper cry.
And Jesse's just like, I'm busy. The baby's safe. That's all I could do right now. And there's levels of that, right? There is sometimes where you've done everything you can for the baby. You need to swaddle the baby and let the baby sleep.
Yeah.
you know?
Yep.
But, you know, you also want to comfort the baby. And we see that Santos is able to do that. You see, I just sing my kids like Depression era folk songs and they love it. So that's that's what I do.
Which ones did you have any particular?
Oh, my son really likes "You Are My Sunshine."
Okay,
and he misheard the lyrics once, and so now he goes, "Sing bonk my head and cry," because one of the lyrics is, "And I hung my head and cry." And he goes, "Sing bonk my head and cry."
That's very cute.
Yeah.
Isa Briones as a stage actor. She's pretty awesome. And they had a real baby. That was a real baby. And that, for just anybody who's never been on set before, it's crazy on set. Lights and people and actors and stuff. And so the fact that they were able to and got multiple takes, and there's a lot of rules around protecting children.
It's like 15 minutes, right? That they're allowed to act at a time. It's like really, really very little.
Yeah, and for good reasons, but very awkward when you're trying to, you know, get stuff done. So however they pulled that together, man, aces again, production on this.
They're probably like, all right, Issa, we're ready for another baby take. Let's go. She probably just had to get pulled away all day.
Right. As she was. Yeah,
that's why she can't get her charting done.
I have this note here. Joy dunks on Ogilvy. Oh, it was because they were trading medical knowledge about obscure conditions. Right. Yeah, when the young football player was in for heat stroke for fainting, not heat stroke, but for fainting. And they were talking about some obscure things. So I was just like, oh, I'm glad Joy got something. Ogilvy there.
Ogilvy just sucks. Like so far, there has been no redeeming quality for him.
No.
Like, what is there to like about Ogilvy? Maybe they'll do it by the end of the season, but I almost feel like they're using him as this like cartoonish, horrible doctor.
Well, if anything, the show is not it does treat people as holistic. So I'm sure that there'll be some.
They do, right? And yet this character has not had a single redeeming quality.
We're like in on Joy now. We're like happy. We understand where she wants to be. Yeah. They haven't given us Ogilvy's redemption yet. So I'm sure it's coming.
They just needed somebody to get pooped on. That's really what they need.
Before we touch on some medical stuff really quick, did you notice how, the big board, what they're using?
Yeah.
It's Google Sheets.
Yeah. I don't think that that's a real thing that hospitals do. I think that this is the Pitt.
Yeah.
This is the show.
There's I when I was doing my frame by frame looking at some stuff, I accidentally caught a bit of it, and then I've seen it a lot on people are posting screenshots of the board on Reddit and stuff like that. So very fun. A couple of medical things I picked up. EFAST, we hear that a lot. That's the extended focused assessment with sonography for trauma. And this is an ultrasound protocol to look for internal bleeding or air, fluids in the abdomen, fluids around the heart, fluids around or air around the lungs where it's not supposed to be. So you'll hear EFAS a lot, which basically means, is there something internal that we can't see? So they're using standard baby, maternal, whatever, ultrasound, that technology to look for those kinds of things. Something else that was fun that was brought up was an Arctic sun. It's a temperature management system that is all external, so there's no invasive things, and it's basically giant pads that
they're water cooling a human.
They're water cooling a human with these big pads, and that has hyper fine control of the temperature of the pads, and so that you can really control very precisely the amount of cooling or heating that you're putting into somebody. And it goes both ways. That's why it's Arctic sun. You can cool somebody or you can heat somebody up. So
it was very cool to see. And I even said that to Maya when we were watching. I was like, man, I've built my PC. It doesn't have a water cooling system in it, but I considered it. And I was like, that's so cool. They're water cooling a human.
The SWAT officer, his name was Hero, Hiro, not Hero. I was like, what? But of course you have subtitles on. You knew that. So.
And of course, because I watched the show Heroes, where Hero was one of the characters.
Got it.
With Hiro. Of course, I knew. I didn't even need the subtitles.
Very good. So Elliot Green, who is our young football player, syncope, that's just fainted. Let's see, Daniel Scott, weak in Disney while washing his car, and so he's the guy that started having seizures. That's a classic sign of heat stroke, like when your core temperature is very high. Then we have Jason Stills. It looks like, again, another heat related patient. Baby Jane Doe. I'm just running down
God. You're going to do that every time now, huh?
I want people to record their take on their Dana impressions and send it in. And maybe we'll have a end of the year contest who has the best Dana impression.
The Danas.
I like it.
Can I say on Abbott, I did love when they were like, "Why are you part of this team?" And he said, "I'm bad at golf."
He's so fun. You should see how I look as a airline pilot or something, or an airline attendant or something like that. Who else we got? Diaz, Hamler, Davis, and Graham, Harlow Graham. So we've talked about all of them already. So
I believe so.
I have all of this in a Notion show tracker guide. Thank you, Nancy, for helping to fill some of this out. I've got profiles on all the characters just for quick reference. It's really great on the mobile phone because the way it displays, you can scroll through if you're trying to find a character or something like that. And then I've got a list by episode. So as you go through I need to update episode 7. I got to figure out how to update the database with a new comma separated value file. But it's the patients as they are introduced by episode, right? So what episode they were introduced on is where they're listed. So I'll try and keep that running.
That's very cool. Thank you for making that show guide because that's super helpful.
The thing is with the show guides and that kind of stuff, it's as much for my own benefit or especially the show tracker, right? The curated list of shows that we pay attention to across, not cover, but pay attention to across the year and for Lorehounds is because I needed a Gantt chart to be able to see when shows were starting and stopping for my own edification. And so these are all sort of self-servicing tools, right? They're all things that I would want for my own interest's sake. So, all right, John, anything else?
I mean, everybody should check out everything else on the network. Alicia's Oscars coverage, the Night of the Seven Kingdoms coverage. We're wrapping up the season this week.
Yep.
So it should be a lot of fun.
On the Oscars coverage, Alicia has an episode out on the BAFTAs right now. So if you're into that kind of stuff, check that out.
I'm interested in David Tennant singing 500 Miles.
Oh, I did not.
I don't know. I don't think he did it this year. That was what he did last year for the BAFTAs.
Oh, okay.
He hosted the BAFTAs. He came out singing 500 Miles and he would shove the microphone in people's face to go da da da.
Cute.
Very funny.
So Radioactive Ramblers just finished up there. Are they finishing up
hold
there?
On. I want to finish the Lorehounds feed because we got a Silmarillion story dropping on Wednesday. It was gonna drop today, but because of the Pitt, I'm pushing it to a couple days from now.
Got it.
But that'll drop Wednesday. Me and Marilyn already recorded it on Turin Bar. Very exciting. And David, we're coming up to our Earthsea recording. It's coming.
I got to read the freaking book again.
I know.
Read it in like
it's short though. It's a short book. True. So you're okay. You're okay.
We're doing what's
The Other Wind.
The Other Winds. That's right. I kind of remember it. I'm pretty sure my notes are still somewhere around on some Google Drive somewhere in there.
And Marilyn has an outline for us already. So
thank God. Thank God we're
good to go.
With some great people.
We're good to go. It's a 2-year-old outline, so
perfect.
We did great. Getting this one done. Radioactive Ramblings. Go ahead.
I was gonna say Second Breakfast. We recorded our subscriber exclusive story, and we talk about a bunch of podcast news. But we have fun talking about frozen foods. That was a fun conversation. We got into a weird Costco segue.
Because the Costco, the children yearn for the Costco.
That's right.
And the freezers yearn for the Costco. Here's the problem. People say that they don't have enough room in their freezer for Costco. You can go to Costco, buy a big standalone freezer, and now you have room for all your Costco stuff.
It's a snake eating its own tail.
That's right.
Ouroboros. We had, and then we have our Diane Keaton episode coming up for our 11Zs movie review podcast, and we did a Diane Keaton retrospective, and we are watching Annie Hall, and I just watched it for myself the other night, and we'll be talking about that very probably right on the cusp of the new month. Just because of scheduling of life like that. But interestingly enough, we have a accidentally created a new podcast show. It won't be its own feed just as of yet, but we're calling it Into the West because so many of our acting cadre of the previous generation are moving on from this world. We were kind of doing it here and there on the 11sies podcast, but it was getting a little ridiculous now.
It was every month. And so we were like, all right.
Yeah.
This cannot be a funeral home of actors.
No. So Brian and Lisa, two of our subscribers and active community members, are taking on the point. They're taking point on this project. I'll be working with them to record and produce it. I'll be sort of the three of our primary hosts. I'll be the host on duty for that, but we'll bring in other people. But we're going to do kind of a 2-stage thing where we review somebody's filmography, and then we release. We have some sort of voting. We'll figure it out, and then we'll pick one film from their reduced. We'll come up with like 11 films or something like that of their history. And then we'll figure out some voting, and then we'll watch that movie and review it as a way to encapsulate. So I think we're going to do Robert Duvall as our first official podcast for that, because he just recently passed away. So,
very cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. We got to do Catherine O'Hara at some point. Yes. I'll join for that one.
Okay. Well, maybe we'll put that right in behind Duvall, because we've already started the research on Duvall.
Yeah.
We can, because we're not going to put it on 11sies because you were going to do it for anyway. Well,
I was thinking about it, but then once we got to this pivot point, Radioactive Ramblings finished up Fallout.
Yes,
we're finally ready to say that.
Got it.
And then I'm cooking up with the guys at Radioactive Ramblings. We're cooking up some Cosmere coverage to come up later this year. So stick around for news on that.
Awesome. Never mind the music. Still doing their thing. Go check them out. They had a great episode on Haim the other day. That was a lot of fun. And let's see what else we have. Properly Howard. They're about to start their honeymoon. I'm sorry, not honeymoon. Their newlyweds draft pick of films. And that was a really interesting thing. They did this whole thing where they had to guess if they had seen a film or not of the other one. And then there was a whole audience submission process. So that season is about to start as soon as they finish with Night of the Seven Kingdoms this week for that final episode. Quick shout out to Captain's Pod too. If you're interested in Starfleet Academy, go check out our friends over there. Also check out our friends at the Dune Minute Podcast. They are covering the sci-fi miniseries. I was just on an episode with them, which will be coming out shortly. And we'll be talking with them more later this year as we get the third movie from Villeneuve and Dune Prophecy comes back. Surprisingly, they didn't cancel it after the first season. So huzzah.
I mean, I'm sure it had good viewership. It was just less than exciting for
right.
People
it was
deep into the lore, right?
A little hard to chew through, but let's fingers crossed for season 2 that they've got themselves.
I fell off of it, but maybe I'll come back.
Speaking of falling off things,
what?
House of the Dragon.
Oh, well, we'll talk about that later.
All right.
Let's figure out our plans before we announce anything on there.
Enough. Stick around for news on House of the Dragon.
There will be House of the Dragon coverage on this
100%.
feed, just to be clear. But anyway, we're figuring out our configuration here. All right. Our Discord server boosters, we want to thank Aaron K, Tiller the Thriller, Duve71, Athena A, Lestu, Nancy M, Ghost of Perdition, Radioactive Richard, and Adrian.
And our lore masters,
David.
Oh, sorry, please.
No, after you.
No, sir, after you.
Indubitably.
Samartian, Michael G, Michelle E, SC, Peter OH, Nancy M, Doof71, Brian 8063, Frederick H, Sarah L, Gareth C, Andra B, Kwang Yu, Nathan T, Sub-Zero, Aaron K, Dally B, Mothership 61, Gnarls, Kathy W, Lestu, Jeffrey B, Elisa U, Ben B, Scott F, Stephen N, Julia F, Holly S, Il Mariel, Paul K, Rocky Zim, Jessica A, Red Zippy, the TCS. Say it with me, John. Dopa. Where are you?
Hold on. I'm almost ready. Give me a second. Okay, go ahead.
Dopa
meeting.
You got the air horn. I was wondering. I was like, why are we waiting for this? Nice one. I like it. Catch It, Eleanor, Mrs. Tennant, AC Wilson, Eli W, Cassie K, Chumba Rooney, Catilla, Josh Liu, Paint in PX, Corey G, Quinch, Forever Last, Never Least, Adrian. These are our lore masters, our top tier subscribers, who literally we could not do this without your support. Thank you for your ongoing support, you guys. Like, seriously, we love our community. And we're so grateful that you are all here. John, this was a good podcast. This was fun.
Yeah, this
Look,
was
an
great.
hour and a half. Look at how efficient we are.
We are. We've been doing this a while, David. We're old men now, just like Dr. Abbott.
That's right. A lot of battle scars and war podcast. Back in the wars, the podcast war of
Podcasting and war, it's the same thing. See everybody next week. The Lorehounds podcast is produced and published by the Lorehounds. You can send questions and feedback and voicemails at thelorehounds.com/contact. Get early and ad-free access to all Lorehounds podcasts at patreon.com/thelorehounds. Any opinions stated are ours personally and do not reflect the opinion of or belong to any employers or other entities. Thanks for listening.